Absolute chaos erupted in the courtroom today as Diddy's own words were played, leaving everyone in stunned silence. The previously confidential audio recordings, presented as evidence, caught Diddy completely off guard. Witnesses reported seeing his face go pale as his voice echoed throughout the room. The tapes, believed to be private conversations, contained statements that could severely damage his defense, possibly serving as a crucial turning point in the case. Sources claim that these recordings contradict Diddy's earlier testimony, adding a new layer of complexity to the ongoing legal battle. The courtroom remains on edge, with this revelation possibly becoming a decisive factor in the trial.
New audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Holmes, Sean Diddy Combs' son, of sexual assault. The music mogul is not accused of sexual assault in the lawsuit, but is included over allegations of liability and aiding and abetting. The lawsuit cites audio from a makeshift recording studio on the yacht where the alleged assault happened. This is the latest in a series of lawsuits filed against the rap mogul and businessman. Both men, father and son, deny the allegations against them. CNN national correspondent Camila Bernal joining me live with details on this. Camila, what more are you learning?
Hey, Fred. So in this audio that CNN has listened to, you can specifically hear the accuser who alleges that she was being forced to take this tequila shot that she believed was laced with drugs. And in the audio, you can hear her asking Christian Combs if she was being drugged.
Has surfaced in a lawsuit accusing Christian Holmes and his son, Shay Did Holmes, of sexual assault. While the music mogul is not directly accused of sexual assault, he is named in the lawsuit for allegations of liability and aiding and abetting. The lawsuit includes audio recorded in a makeshift studio aboard the yacht where the alleged assault occurred. This marks the latest in a series of legal challenges for the rap mogul. Both Christian and Shay Did Holmes deny the allegations. CNN's national correspondent, Camila Bernal, reports that in the audio, the accuser can be heard claiming she was forced to take a tequila shot she believed was laced with drugs, and she asks Christian Holmes if she was being drugged.
Now, just to put things into perspective, the accuser was a crew member on the yacht. She was a bartender, and she says that shortly after this incident with the shot, she says she was cornered in a room. She says things became aggressive and physical, and then says that Christian Combs forced himself on her, and then says that it wasn't until another employee on the yacht came into this room that the abuse that she is alleging in this 31-page lawsuit stopped. And she says it only stopped because that person came into the room. Now, I want to read part of what the accuser's attorney is saying right now. What he's saying is, defendant Sean Combs turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment. It resulted in an unexpected increase in workload for her and for her colleagues, as well as unwanted exposure to unlawful drug use, work, and general chaos. Now,
leaked audio reportedly captured Diddy making shocking admissions about the allegations against him, leaving the courtroom in utter disbelief. As the recording played, gasps erupted, and even the judge appeared visibly stunned. The tapes are said to be so damaging that Diddy's legal team was left scrambling to respond. One source described the courtroom atmosphere as electric, with everyone hanging on every word. For months, Diddy has been attempting to fight back against the accusations, but this new evidence could change everything. The content of the audio remains under scrutiny, but its impact on the case and the industry is undeniable, sparking intense media attention.
It is partially because he was leasing that yacht. Now, he is not accused of assault, but he is accused in this lawsuit of liability and aiding and abetting because he was the one renting the yacht. Now, his attorney, or actually the attorney for both men, also speaking out and denying these allegations, saying this complaint is filled with manufactured lies and irrelevant facts. We will be filing a motion to dismiss this outrageous claim. Again, they have continued to say that this is something that they will fight, that they are innocent in all of this. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out in court, if it gets to court or if it gets settled at some point, which has been the case with a previous lawsuit. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens as Diddy and his son continue to say they're innocent and the victims here continue to say that they were assaulted, Fred.
And so while Music Mogul
Diddy had previously dismissed the claims as baseless, but the newly uncovered audio has changed everything. Sources say the recording is damning and undeniable, leaving legal experts to believe Diddy's chances of walking free may be gone. Social media has erupted in response, with hashtags like hashtag Diddy audio leak and hashtag Courtroom chows trending worldwide as reactions pour into the explosive revelation in the ongoing case.
Diddy's legal team continuing what seems like a clear strategy now, which is to put the prosecutors and the system on trial here and shift focus away from the things that Diddy allegedly did.
By the way, worked in the O.J. Simpson.
There is a track record of this working. The latest thing they've filed now is questioning the search warrants that got federal agents permission to raid his homes in Beverly Hills and in Miami.
So what they're essentially trying to do is say that this violated the Fourth Amendment, the right against unreasonable search and seizure. If they would prevail on something like this, all that evidence would not be admissible.
And that includes, depending on your perspective, trivially or not so trivially,
You're getting to baby oil, aren't you?
all the baby oil, the cases and cases of baby oil that the feds say they found.
And more importantly, videos
Which would involve at least...
Fans of the Music Mogul are in shock and disbelief, while critics are calling the recordings a smoking gun that could bring justice to his accusers. The revelations have reignited debates over Diddy's innocence, with many wondering how this new evidence will affect the case's outcome. Social media is flooded with memes, tweets, and videos as people dissect every second of the leaked audio, speculating on its implications for Diddy's future. The courtroom erupted in chaos as the audio played.
3 alleged victims so far that they've named in the indictment.
Right.
Although they're anonymous at this point. We know that one of them is Cassie. But if that video that they obtained is not admissible, that could change this case immensely. And I would think greatly improve Diddy's chances of winning.
Yeah, look, I mean, the raids were a centerpiece of the evidence that was gathered by the prosecution in putting together their case. So if they win this motion to suppress all that evidence, it really would present a sort of insurmountable hurdle for the prosecutors to bring their case. I think it might be a long shot, though. They're saying that the evidence put forth in these warrant requests presented a grossly distorted picture of reality, and that it didn't present a full picture of what Diddy was doing, whether some of the people who were accusing him maybe had a financial incentive, maybe some of those accusers willingly participated in freak-offs, but I'm not sure you need all of the evidence to convict him to just get a warrant. All you need is probable cause, and I think they probably had enough here.
Gasps, whispers, and stunned expressions filled the courtroom as the audio played, even catching Diddy's own attorneys off guard. One source claims they were frantically flipping through case files, visibly shaken by the sudden turn of events. So what's on the recording? To understand the gravity of the situation, let's look at how this story unfolded. Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs, was arrested and charged earlier this year following a series of allegations, ranging from workplace harassment to more serious abuse claims. The case has become one of the most closely watched legal battles in recent memory.
Evidence you just need, is there evidence of a crime in there or suspicion to believe as much, and that's what was the basis for the raids.
And at the end of the day, you're still going to have Cassie on the stand. Even if you can't admit that evidence from the raids, you still have Cassie telling her story.
And she's going to be so important here because, look, we know that one of the things that is going to be a centerpiece of Diddy's defense is he's going to say Cassie was a willing participant in numerous freak-offs. So you've got that, but then you got to juxtapose that with the video of Diddy beating Cassie as she was trying to leave one of the freak-offs. So that's going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
I think that it's time for Diddy to get off the mat because he's been on the mat the whole time. So I think this is the best thing he can do is go ahead and swing some punches now. And it's been used before, so I think it'll work for him. Well, at least for right now. We'll see what happens later.
Diddy has consistently denied the allegations, calling them false and defamatory, but the leaked audio has raised serious doubts about his claims. The recordings, reportedly obtained through legal discovery and private investigations, feature conversations where Diddy allegedly admits to inappropriate behavior and discusses activities directly tied to the accusations. Reports suggest the audio includes key details and possible admissions that contradict Diddy's earlier statements, further complicating his defense and adding a new layer of tension to the ongoing legal battle.
Sean Diddy Combs' attorney is in a new court filing seeking to suppress evidence in his sex trafficking case. The music mogul's lawyers challenging the legality of the search warrants that investigators used. Combs has denied wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. Our ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Kaczorski has been following this, and he joins us from our New York newsroom. So, Aaron, we know that Combs' lawyers say these search warrant applications presented, quote, grossly distorted picture of reality. I know this filing was heavily redacted here, but did they offer up any more specifics about how they argue that was done?
Some. They say that the prosecutors and federal agents who ended up searching Combs's luxury homes, his electronic devices, his iCloud accounts, his hotel room here in New York after his arrest, Kana, ended up not giving the magistrate judge who signed the search warrant applications the full picture. They omitted certain facts, which may well have been helpful to Combs, according to his.
The audio could serve as direct evidence against Diddy, with some legal analysts suggesting it may be part of a larger strategy by prosecutors to corner him. The audio, played in court earlier today, is seen as a pivotal moment in the case. In one particularly chilling segment, Diddy is heard discussing activities that align with the accusations against him. The recordings also reveal a side of Diddy the public has never seen before, showing him in a more vulnerable and unguarded light. This new evidence could potentially shift the entire trajectory of the ongoing legal battle.
Some accounts, some rather salacious accounts, his attorney said, from an unnamed producer that the defense says just wasn't credible. And taken together, it gave the magistrate judge a distorted picture of the case. Federal prosecutors are undoubtedly going to challenge this. They have not responded yet, but they'll do so in court papers.
Interesting. And we also know that one of Combs' attorneys is stepping away from this case. A stunning move there. What do we know about that?
Yeah, Anthony Rico asked last week to be removed from the case. He did not give a reason, although he said under no circumstance could he continue to represent Sean Combs. And just a second ago, Kana, as we were coming on the air together, the judge granted that motion. So Anthony Rico no longer represents Sean Combs. And he was an important figure on that defense team for Combs. Rico is black. He's from Harlem.
The recordings reveal a side of Diddy that contradicts his carefully crafted image as a successful businessman and philanthropist. Legal experts are calling the tapes a game changer, suggesting they could lead to a conviction if admitted in court. While the judge overseeing the case has yet to rule on the admissibility of the audio, the damage to Diddy's public image may already be irreversible. Sources inside the courtroom report that Diddy appeared visibly furious as the audio played, shaking his head and muttering under his breath, clearly shaken by the explosive revelations.
It was a circus. He did whatever he wanted, and we were just at his disposal.
Phil Pines was Diddy's senior executive assistant from 2019 to 2021. He says his then boss asked him to purchase supplies for parties dubbed Wild King Nights.
We usually had a laundry list of items that included lights, alcohol, ketamine, Molly. Those requests started to become more frequent.
Pines claims many of these parties involved younger women.
A lot of times you'd have him with a younger female. There's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
The new interview, part of Investigation Discovery's docuseries, The Fall of Diddy.
My job is to shield his private life.
Clearly panicked, Diddy may not have expected this recording to surface, and now social media is erupting with reactions. Fans are divided. Some believe it's a setup, arguing the audio could be taken out of context, while others claim it proves Diddy has been lying all along. Friends and associates of Diddy have quickly defended him, calling the recordings fabricated and misrepresented. They insist Diddy is the victim of a smear campaign aimed at damaging his reputation and legacy. The debate over the authenticity and impact of the audio continues to grow, fueling further public scrutiny.
Back to the lawsuit. Quote, Doe began to go in and out of consciousness. He was aware of what was happening, but could not stop it. And from there, John Doe claims he was by Sean Combs in the back room of that nightclub. The complaint continues. He could not stop the assault on him. He was defenseless. To this day, Doe often has nightmares of being in the back room of the nightclub, watching as Combs takes him from behind. The next morning, Doe woke up in the apartment with his brother and friends, and he explains that when he woke up, he experienced pain in his rear and lower body. Quote, as a result of Combs' assault, Doe experienced damages including pain and suffering, mental anguish, physical impairment, and emotional torment. The interaction continues to humiliate and cause shame on Doe. Now that is important in terms of harm and damages, which I'll get to in a minute, but the complaint continues. Because of Combs' power and notoriety, because of Doe's own embarrassment and shame.
Others close to the case believe the audio is credible and could significantly impact the outcome. Diddy appeared visibly shaken in court, described as pale and trembling, far from the confident figure the public knows. Insiders now suggest this leaked audio may not be the only one. There could be more recordings, potentially even more damaging, yet to be revealed. This revelation has only intensified the uncertainty surrounding the case, leaving many wondering what further consequences Diddy might face.
A number of reasons why people don't come forward earlier, aside from who the alleged perpetrator is, even if they're not a Sean Combs. There's a number of reasons. But here, the main argument is that, again, given Combs' power, his influence, his status, it is not easy coming forward against one of the biggest stars in Hollywood in the music industry. Not easy coming forward until others did. Now, to be clear, this is not to say that Combs is liable. These are only allegations. He hasn't been found liable in any of these cases. As I said, he's innocent until proven guilty. He's denied all the allegations. In fact, in his statement to people regarding this lawsuit, Combs' legal team wrote, as we've said before, Mr. Combs cannot respond to every new publicity stunt, even in response to claims that are facially ridiculous or demonstrably false. Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs never assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. That has been basically the same statement that has been released after every one of these laws.
If more recordings are released, Diddy's legal team will face an impossible battle. Meanwhile, prosecutors are reportedly doubling down, planning to use this new evidence to push for harsher penalties. This case has evolved into more than just a story about Diddy. It's highlighting broader issues of power and accountability in the entertainment industry. The leaked audio has sparked important conversations about how victims of abuse are treated and whether the legal system is truly capable of uncovering the truth, raising questions that extend far beyond Diddy's personal case.
But what's interesting is that in Lil Rod's lawsuit, he actually has photos, like screenshots of a recording of Justin Combs, and he says it's allegedly with a worker. Do you think that part is incriminating too, that the feds may be looking at that recording?
I do, and during Combs' initial appearance before the new judge, Subramanian, there was some discussion of this, and Christian and Justin were in court as well, supporting their father, but the feds were talking about the 96 different electronic devices they seized and the terabytes and terabytes of data. Now, some of it might not be relevant, but some of it may be very much on point, because going back to Cassie's original allegation, Combs reportedly recorded many of these acts. It might have been for his pleasure. It might have been to maintain control over their participants. But whether it's a voluntary recording, whether it's a hotel security camera, whether it's something that Lil...
Some are calling for reforms to ensure all evidence is thoroughly reviewed, while others argue that Diddy's situation is a direct consequence of his alleged actions. The case has raised important questions about the role of privilege and influence in the justice system, with many wondering if Diddy's wealth and status have shielded him from accountability for too long. In a new twist, Diddy's former associates are speaking out. Some claim they aren't surprised by the audio leak, while others say they've been warning people about Diddy for years, suggesting deeper issues within his inner circle and the industry.
It could be at a home, could be at a hotel, in this case could be on a yacht, and usually there aren't a whole lot of witnesses to it, so you will have a he said, she said type situation in many, many cases. Well, a recording can really change that narrative because, again, it can really corroborate the story of one side or the other.
In regards to Justin specifically and these alleged recordings, audio, all of that, so that's in relation to Lil Rod's lawsuit. He's actually a co-defendant listed quite a few times throughout this. And in addition to him sitting next to this alleged prostitute, we have that photo. There's also allegations that he actually partook in these freak-offs and potentially drugged women. This is something Lil Rod is saying. How would the feds go about proving something like that? I know that's the pattern we've seen across a lot of these civil suits, that women allege Diddy, for instance, drugged them. But now Lil Rod's also pointing the finger at Justin Combs, saying he drugged some of these women. How would the feds then go to look further into that?
So what happens next? Legal experts predict Diddy's defense team will likely challenge the authenticity of the recording. However, with such damning evidence now public, the damage may already be done. As the case unfolds, one major question remains. What's next for Diddy? Will the leaked audio lead to a conviction, or can his legal team discredit it? And how will this revelation affect his career and legacy?
After everyone saw them in handcuffs. So what do you make of the remarks of Lisa Hilton? What do you make of the fact of what Sean Combs' son posted on Instagram, and also the timing of the Grace O'Markey lawsuit?
Yeah, so first of all, about Misa Hilton's statement, all I have to say is cry me a river, to say that this has anything to do with race when Bernie Madoff's entire family was decimated by his, grift and Ponzi scheme that he was running on the New York elite. His sons were raided as well in public, and they were grown men, just like how Misa Hilton's son is a grown man, and all of Diddy's sons are adult men, 26 and up into their 30s. And so, unfortunately, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But when law enforcement is doing a raid on allegations of trafficking.
For now, all eyes are on the courtroom as the world waits to see how this story will unfold. Legal experts suggest the audio could be the tipping point in the case, potentially swaying public opinion and influencing the judge's decision. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is reportedly working around the clock to counter the damaging evidence, but the road ahead looks increasingly difficult. To make matters worse, Diddy's reputation is in freefall. Major brands are reportedly cutting ties with the mogul, and his legacy hangs in the balance as the case continues to unfold.
Sean P. Diddy Combs is because these things cross state lines and international lines. So, for example, if it was just I'm in Detroit and I have a girl come over from across the street and I sexually assault her, that would be within the state jurisdiction. But if I have a girl pay her to come from Oklahoma to Detroit, for example, and assault her or pay her to do that, that's trafficking across state lines. And now I'm bringing in drugs and things like that. That's what makes it federal. So I'm not sure if it would qualify for federal review, especially because this was out on the water. We've got maritime laws and things like that. I'm not sure if this would be a federal case, but if more people come forward about Christian Combs and it becomes a pattern and it crosses state lines, then possibly there could be some type of federal intrusion into his case.
Former friends are distancing themselves, and with the leaked audio circulating widely, more shocking details may emerge. Could this be the final piece that seals Diddy's fate, or will his legal team pull off a miracle defense? One thing is clear, this case is far from over. With more leaks expected, the worst may still be yet to come. The impact of the audio has also deeply affected Diddy's family and close associates.
That this was an intentional intrusion into Combs' privilege when, on its face, you didn't even know what these notes were about. It wasn't clear that it was attorney-client or work product privilege material. Finally, Subramanian writes, the government promptly turned the photographs over to Combs, which further weighs against any inference of intentional malfeasance. This episode illustrates why the filter team should communicate with the defense before giving Combs' case-related materials to the case team, but it does not bear the hallmarks of intentional intrusion or conduct that is manifestly and avowedly corrupt. So this seems to suggest that the filter team, they may have made some mistakes here. They made some mistakes on what was privileged. They made some mistakes in not alerting Sean Combs' defense team before handing things over to the prosecutors. This is not enough to say that Sean Combs' rights were violated under the Sixth Amendment. However, there is another argument.
Sources close to the Combs family reveal that they've been left reeling by the revelations, with some struggling to reconcile the man they know with the person heard in the recordings. Diddy's children, who have remained largely silent throughout the legal battle, are said to be devastated by the latest developments. One insider described the family as heartbroken and in shock, doing their best to support Diddy during this difficult time. Meanwhile, insiders are revealing more about the origins of the leaked audio, adding further intrigue to the case.
Right? I actually want to read you some of what the defense argued in a prior filing. Quote, while the government says it didn't specifically direct Investigator 1 to search Mr. Combs' notes in advance of the raid, its conduct after he alerted them to the material suggests this could simply be part of an effort to distance the prosecutors from conduct they knew they couldn't legally participate in. And then the defense actually goes back to the transcript from a court hearing where Judge Subramanian asked whether it's possible Investigator 1, quote, thought of himself as an agent of the prosecution team. So the defense continued in their filing, was there a tacit understanding that he should do what he could to help the government develop evidence against Mr. Combs at any opportunity? Who is Investigator 1 and whose instructions was he following? The court should order the government to produce Investigator 1's communications with the prosecutors, take his testimony to fully understand what he was thinking during the search, and explore whether the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons, that sweep served as pretext.
Some reports suggest the leaked audio wasn't an accidental release, but a deliberate move. Rumors are circulating that someone close to the case may have held onto the recording for months, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Could it have been a former employee, associate, or even someone in law enforcement determined to expose the truth? The case is having a ripple effect across the entertainment industry, with many of Diddy's former collaborators and business partners now distancing themselves from him. As the drama continues to unfold, the impact on his professional network is becoming increasingly evident.
See which person is sending different individuals in these lockups money, and you can see who's all contacted. So even if some of his associates or family is sending money to these individuals that are helping him use these phone calls, all the stuff is easily traced back. So obviously, he's not understanding the rules and regulations and of the processes that the agency uses to monitor this type of behavior.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think he's flying under the radar if that's his goal, because obviously we're talking about it right now. And in addition to paying these people to use their phone calls, there's actually allegations that he's paid other people to post on Instagram in support of him. Obviously, this could be people outside in the other world. He suggested, you should post, whatever it may be. But what about on the inside? These people don't have access to Instagram, or do they?
No, and I think, they had that.
Fearing damage to their own reputations, some are calling for a wider investigation into the music industry, claiming Diddy's case is just the tip of the iceberg. The leaked audio has reignited debates about silence and complicity in Hollywood, with calls for more transparency and accountability. One source even suggested the audio was part of a confidential exchange, meaning if real, it was never meant to be made public.
Have family on the outside post, or friends or associates post on their behalf. So it's not uncommon. Unfortunately, I've seen, even at jails and prisons I've operated, inmates were running YouTube channels during COVID-19 with cameras and different things of that nature. So they're very resourceful individuals. And, and unfortunately, sometimes those things does happen.
To your point, they are very resourceful. So we do know maybe they're not allowed to have these phones or access, but sometimes they do have them. I'm wondering if this then would amp up the amount of searches that the prison staff would make throughout. I mean, P. Diddy is a pretty big name. Obviously, we know that he's talking to the other inmates around him. Would then MDC staff be keeping an eye on his specific cell, maybe more than others?
No, I think each staff member that works each unit on a shift, there's 3 shifts and everything.
If the audio was confidential, the question remains, who leaked it and why now? Legal experts are calling it one of the biggest courtroom bombshells of the year. Some believe the leak could lead to additional charges, especially if the audio confirms prior accusations. Others argue that Diddy's legal team may try to have it thrown out on technicalities. As we wait for the next chapter in this unfolding drama, one thing is clear. This is a story with far-reaching consequences, impacting not only Diddy but the broader entertainment industry.
The judge decided just now. We want to talk about it, and it concerns the same issue. It concerns the tapes. You see, the prosecution weeks ago responded to the defense's letter, but they didn't focus so much on turning over the alleged tapes. They didn't want to turn them over, but rather what they focused on, what they accused the defense of, is they alleged the defense violated the protective order. They argue that the defense revealed just way too much about the content of these videos, even though the defense redacted certain portions of the videos in their letter to the court that we all saw. It was a public letter. But they say that's not enough. The prosecution argued that under the protective order, no portion of the videos should have been filed on that public docket without being filed under seal, basically meaning the public won't have an opportunity to see it. Or they shouldn't have filed it without the defense first talking with the government as to the proper designation.
Whether you're a fan of Diddy or a critic of his alleged actions, this case is undeniably a watershed moment for the entertainment industry. It serves as a reminder that no one is above the law, and the truth always comes to light, no matter how powerful the person involved. One thing is clear, it's a game changer. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is reportedly in full panic mode, working around the clock to contain the damage and minimize the fallout.
Oh, they argue that by doing this and kind of telling the world what these videos, in their opinion, show, this threatens the privacy of the victims in this case. And they asked the court to remove it from the public filing, have it be refiled with full redactions. The defense objected to that, so they responded in a follow-up letter to the judge. They said, okay, tell you what, we'll agree to make redactions, but judge, and we need you to allow us to refile this letter, but with narrower redactions. They argue that what the government is asking for is way too overbroad, that we shouldn't have to redact everything. That, look, judge, the government started this. The government has been quite specific about details of freak-offs and what they're alleging the evidence will show. We have a right to respond. We have a right to provide our own description, our own characterization of what these videos are. And the defense also argued that there is a presumption of the public having access to all the details about these.
Some sources claim Diddy's legal team is scrambling to find out if there are any other recordings, as this may only be the beginning, making things potentially much worse. The case is already stacked against him, with multiple allegations, an ongoing investigation, and now a leaked recording that could expose everything. It's becoming increasingly difficult for him to fight back. Some insiders believe Diddy might break his silence and publicly address the allegations in a major interview as his next move.
Allowed the text that Diddy reportedly sent to Cassie Ventura after an altercation in a hotel in 2016. She references security video of the event that went public, showing Diddy hitting his then-girlfriend in a hotel hallway. The text from Diddy at the time read, quote, "Call me, the cops are here. I got 6 kids. Yo, please call, I'm surrounded. You gonna abandon me all alone?" The assistant U.S. attorney argues in court that, quote, the defendant knew he had done something that could elicit police response. She stated that if the music producer were freed from jail, it may prevent witnesses from testifying against him, and denied his bail a second time. E! News has reached out to reps for Cassie and Diddy for comment and has not yet heard back. The texts were brought up in relation to the federal indictment against the music mogul, which alleges that, quote, for decades, Diddy abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his...
Some believe Diddy may launch a major legal counterattack, possibly suing over the leak and claiming his rights were violated. However, even if he fights the leak, the damage is done. His own words are out there, and the world is listening. Just when it couldn't get crazier, sources hint that additional evidence may drop soon, with some speculating that prosecutors could be sitting on even more damning material, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Could this be the breaking point for Diddy? Is he about to lose everything? One thing is certain, this case is far from over. The courtroom is on fire, social media is in meltdown mode, and the world is watching as Diddy's fate hangs in the balance. As more evidence continues to surface, the question remains, how much worse can this get? Stay tuned, because the next twist in this story could be the one that changes everything. So what do you think about Diddy's secret audio being leaked and the shocking admissions it contains? Do you believe it's a game changer for the case, or do you think there's more to the story? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on this story and other breaking news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.